Have you ever felt that life is not entirely what it seems, that the world you move through every day is just a surface, a carefully orchestrated illusion? What if I told you that hidden behind the very fabric of reality is a law, ancient, profound, and known only to those who have reached the 33rd degree of a secret society whose roots stretch across centuries? A law that quietly shapes destinies, bends probabilities, and aligns the invisible threads of cause and effect to serve a hidden purpose. Most people live under the illusion of choice, believing the universe is random. Yet there exists a hidden architecture of influence, a clandestine force that governs not just outcomes, but the very perception of life itself. To know it is to step into a power that can be terrifying, but also transformative. You are about to peer into the hidden corridors of Masonic wisdom, into the 33rd degree secret, and discover what the architects of reality do not want revealed. Time, as we perceive it, is a fragile illusion, a construct of the human mind designed to measure, categorize, and contain the flow of experience. We believe it moves in a straight line, from past to present to future, yet those who have touched the 33rd degree know that this is merely a shadow of a deeper order. Time is elastic, layered, multidimensional, a mirror of cause, intention, and consciousness. Moments we dismiss as insignificant, fleeting, or random are, in truth, reflections of a pattern that is deliberate, conscious, and persistent. Every action, thought, and emotion resonates far beyond the immediate perception, sending ripples through the hidden architecture that supports the world we inhabit. The soul, in its human embodiment, drifts through these layers like a traveler moving in a fog. It senses the currents but often cannot name them. It feels a pull, an attraction, a subtle alignment that draws one toward opportunities, people, and experiences that seem coincidental but are far from it. In Masonic philosophy, the 33rd degree is not merely a symbolic milestone. It represents the mastery of perception itself, the ability to see the underlying currents that guide reality, and the recognition that these currents respond to awareness. One cannot force them or coerce them. One can only learn to navigate, align, and resonate with them. The ordinary human mind, constrained by routine and distraction, rarely recognizes these flows. It is blind to the invisible lattice of cause and effect, mistaking the surface chaos for randomness, while the hidden network quietly structures outcomes in alignment with a far-reaching intelligence. This intelligence does not operate on human time or through human emotion alone. It works in layers, weaving synchronicities, aligning intentions, and guiding events in ways that appear coincidental until observed with insight. To the untrained eye, life seems fragmented, disordered, and uncertain. But the deeper truth is that each fragment, each encounter, and each experience exists within a vast, interconnected web of subtle laws that dictate probability, resonance, and manifestation. The 33rd degree teaches that reality is a dialogue, not a monologue, a responsive system in which every conscious mind has influence and every unnoticed act carries consequence. Humanity, by default, drifts within this system, often unaware of the profound effect of thought and presence. The simplest thoughts, the quietest intentions, hold weight in this network. They may not produce immediate results, but they begin to align circumstances, attract individuals, and generate conditions that reflect the hidden law's influence. To awaken to this is to realize that life is not a series of accidents, but a living tapestry of cause, consequence, and subtle design. The hidden law does not judge or favor, it simply mirrors alignment and resonance. Those who resonate with it unconsciously experience flow, insight, and opportunities, while those who resist or ignore it encounter friction, repetition, and limitation. Beyond the external world lies the internal landscape, a dimension equally governed by the hidden currents of cause. Thoughts, emotions, and intentions are not private, isolated phenomena. They are forces with reach, capable of interacting with the invisible architecture of reality. The 33rd degree teaches mastery over this inner dimension, the recognition that the mind is both instrument and participant in the orchestration of existence. The boundary between perception and reality becomes permeable. Observing reality becomes an act of creation. The more one refines awareness, the more the patterns of life reveal themselves, not as abstract principles, but as tangible guides, subtly orchestrating events, relationships, and outcomes toward alignment. Illusion in this context is not deception, but the misinterpretation of surface phenomena. People live in worlds constructed from perception, habit, and assumption, rarely noticing the hidden threads that connect them to everything else. The 33rd degree reveals that mastery begins by seeing through these veils, by recognizing that life is not a series of unrelated events, but a coherent system that responds to consciousness. This understanding does not remove challenge or suffering, but it reframes them. What appears as obstacle is guidance. What appears as chance is opportunity. To perceive the shadows of the hidden law is to awaken to the knowledge that the universe is responsive, deliberate, and intelligent, and that alignment with its currents is both possible and transformative. Mastery of this knowledge is subtle. It is not about control in the conventional sense, but about attunement, resonance, and timing. It requires patience, observation, and the courage to confront the patterns within oneself that resist alignment. Awareness is the bridge, intention is the key, understanding is the portal. Those who walk this path find that life begins to move differently, not because the law favors them, but because they have learned to move with it, to become instruments of its quiet, persistent orchestration. The hidden law, once glimpsed, becomes a lens through which all experience is understood, revealing that what once seemed random is in fact part of a larger, conscious design, intricately interwoven, endlessly deep, and profoundly intelligent. The paradox of knowledge is that the closer you come to it, the more it seems to slip away. This is not a flaw of understanding, nor a trick of perception. It is the fundamental nature of the hidden law itself. Those who seek the 33rd degree secret with desperation, with the hunger of the ego, find only frustration, illusion, and dead ends. Knowledge, in this context, is not something to be grasped, owned, or announced. It is a living, breathing awareness, a state of attunement to currents that operate outside conventional time, space, and expectation. The universe does not hand its secrets freely, and it does not respond to force. It responds only to alignment, resonance, and the subtle recognition of patterns that exist beyond ordinary perception. Imagine walking through a vast hall lined with mirrors, each reflection slightly shifted, each doorway leading to a different reality, each shadow suggesting a truth that is both present and concealed. The very act of observing changes what is seen. The deeper one delves, the more the ordinary markers of reality dissolve, leaving only a labyrinth of perception, choice, and consequence. The paradox is that the more you insist on certainty, the more the hall of mirrors fractures, creating illusions that appear more real than reality itself. To access the hidden law, one must embrace uncertainty, inhabit the tension between knowing and not knowing, and allow the mind to become a receptive instrument rather than a grasping entity. This is why so many seekers fail. They approach the hidden currents with ambition rather than curiosity, with control rather than awareness, with expectation rather than observation. The law itself cannot be coerced. It is not a trophy to be claimed, nor a formula to be applied. It is a dialogue, subtle, silent, and pervasive. Those who glimpse it recognize that life is layered with signals, symbols, and synchronicities, but these are not immediately obvious. They are encoded in experiences, relationships, patterns of thought, and even in the structure of seemingly mundane events. The paradox lies in realizing that the more one searches outwardly, the further the truth recedes, while the more one cultivates inward awareness, the more reality begins to respond, almost imperceptibly, yet with undeniable effect. Consider the paradox in another dimension. The law is both everywhere and nowhere. It shapes outcomes, yet it cannot be measured directly. It orchestrates reality, yet remains invisible to those who look only at the surface. Those who reach the 33rd degree do not gain possession of it. They gain perception. They see the hidden architecture in action, the subtle interplay of cause and consequence that ordinary life renders invisible. And they understand that what appears chaotic or random is not disorder, but a lattice of intention and resonance operating at levels beyond ordinary cognition. This realization is both liberating and unsettling, for it shatters the comfort of believing that life is accidental, predictable, or fully within control. The tension between desire for certainty and the nature of hidden knowledge creates the friction that fuels awakening. The seeker learns that mastery is not about acquiring information, but about aligning consciousness with the currents that animate reality. Every thought, every intention, every quiet moment of focus becomes a node in this network, interacting with forces that are subtle, intelligent, and responsive. The paradox deepens when one recognizes that knowledge cannot simply be taught. It must be experienced, perceived, and integrated. It manifests not as an answer, but as an expanded awareness, a lens through which the patterns of life are revealed, where synchronicity, timing, and insight converge into a living understanding. And yet, the law itself remains indifferent to personal ambition or recognition. It does not favor those who seek it for power, nor punish those who ignore it. Its function is simple yet profound: to reflect alignment. It responds to attention, perception, and resonance, creating opportunities, insights, and openings that appear miraculous only because they cannot be understood through ordinary frameworks. The paradox is that the more one seeks control, the more elusive the law becomes, while the more one cultivates awareness, patience, and subtlety, the more it reveals itself in unexpected, almost uncanny ways. In essence, the paradox of knowledge is a test of perception and presence. It is the recognition that the hidden law is not a prize, but a mirror, an infinite reflection of consciousness interacting with consciousness, intention with outcome, subtle thought with tangible consequence. Those who endure the tension between seeking and surrender, between knowing and not knowing, begin to perceive the hidden threads that connect life, the unseen patterns that guide events, and the subtle intelligence that orchestrates reality. In this space, the impossible becomes perceptible, the invisible becomes experienced, and the seeker realizes that the ultimate mastery is not in obtaining secrets, but in becoming attuned to the living law that quietly shapes every moment, every choice, and every reality. At the heart of the 33rd degree lies a revelation so profound, so fundamental, that it challenges everything most people assume about life, reality, and consciousness itself. Reality is not a chaotic sequence of random events, nor a mere unfolding of chance and circumstance. There is a law, hidden, deliberate, and exacting, that governs the subtle architecture of existence. This law is invisible to the untrained eye, yet it is as absolute and persistent as the movement of the stars. It operates beyond human measurement, beyond ordinary perception, shaping outcomes through a lattice of cause, intention, and resonance that stretches across time, space, and consciousness itself. Those who understand it perceive that every moment, every encounter, and every thought carries weight far beyond what is immediately apparent. The world you see is merely a projection, a surface reflection of deeper currents that flow beneath, unseen yet unerring. Consider how often seemingly random events align perfectly, how opportunities arise in inexplicable ways, how insights emerge at precisely the moment they are needed. These are not coincidences. They are the fingerprints of the hidden law at work, orchestrating circumstances according to principles that most of humanity remains blind to. The 33rd degree does not grant control over life in the conventional sense. It grants perception of the system itself, the ability to see the invisible threads and align oneself with them, rather than being buffeted aimlessly by them. This law operates on multiple levels, both external and internal. Externally, it weaves circumstances, relationships, and events into patterns that reflect alignment, intention, and resonance. Every interaction becomes part of a network of influence, where even the smallest decision can reverberate in ways that seem miraculous only because their logic is hidden. Internally, it manifests through thought, intention, and awareness. Every quiet reflection, every considered desire, every conscious act becomes an instrument through which the law manifests in tangible form. Consciousness is not passive, it is participatory. It is the medium through which hidden cause translates into observable effect. The law is not a force to be coerced or manipulated through brute effort. It responds only to attunement, subtlety, and mastery of perception. Those who attempt to bend reality through desire alone, without awareness, often find resistance, friction, and unforeseen consequences. The 33rd degree teaches that true mastery is alignment. It is the cultivation of a state in which inner intention, outer action, and the currents of reality are synchronized, creating an almost imperceptible but profound resonance that allows outcomes to unfold with fluidity and grace. Consider for a moment the analogy of music. A single note struck in isolation produces sound but little resonance. When that note aligns with a chord, a rhythm, and a structure, it participates in a symphony. So too with intention. Every thought, feeling, and act participates in a cosmic symphony, interacting with other elements in ways that are invisible, yet perfectly ordered. The 33rd degree is the awareness that life itself is this symphony, and that mastery lies not in playing every note, but in harmonizing with the underlying rhythm, allowing the music of reality to flow through action, thought, and perception. What is extraordinary about this law is that it operates continuously, independently of recognition or belief. It does not depend on human understanding to function, yet once perceived, it becomes a tool of immense potential. Those who awaken to it see that what was once random or overwhelming now appears patterned, meaningful, and alive. Obstacles transform into guidance. Challenges transform into alignment signals. Even suffering, when perceived through the lens of the hidden law, becomes an instrument of clarity, forcing realignment, growth, and the unfolding of latent potential. The true power of the law is subtle, almost imperceptible. It does not shout or impose, it whispers, nudges, and reveals itself through consequence. It teaches that mastery is not domination but resonance, not control, but attunement. Those who internalize this law understand that life is not a battlefield to be conquered, but a canvas upon which consciousness interacts with hidden currents. They perceive the invisible dance of cause and effect, the intricate weaving of intentions into reality, and the profound responsibility that comes with awareness. And yet, the law is impartial. It does not favor those who seek it for selfish gain, nor punish those who remain ignorant. It simply mirrors alignment. When thought, intention, and perception are coherent, reality bends toward clarity, synchronicity, and manifestation. When misalignment occurs, friction, repetition, and confusion arise. This understanding transforms the very approach to life. No longer is one a passive participant, drifting through circumstance. Instead, one becomes a conscious navigator, attuned to currents that were always present, previously invisible, now perceptible and actionable. In this, the 33rd degree reveals perhaps the most profound truth of all. Reality is malleable, not through force but through consciousness. Every thought carries consequence, every subtle intention carries influence, and every quiet moment of alignment contributes to a pattern that echoes far beyond immediate perception. Mastery is not about control over others or over events. It is mastery over alignment, perception, and the subtle architecture of existence. It is the realization that life is not random, the universe is not indifferent, and consciousness is not separate from the unfolding of reality. It is, in fact, one of its most powerful instruments. Those who awaken to this law step into a world of infinite potential. They perceive that life is a dialogue, not a monologue. They understand that alignment, awareness, and resonance are the keys to participating consciously in the unfolding of destiny. And once this truth is grasped, once the pattern is perceived, ordinary existence transforms into something extraordinary. Every encounter, every choice, every fleeting thought becomes a note in the symphony of cause and effect, orchestrated by a law that is hidden, subtle, yet omnipresent. A law that the 33rd degree does not merely reveal, but allows the awakened mind to experience in its full, transformative power. Think for a moment about your own life. Consider the moments that felt like accidents, coincidences, or sheer luck. The sudden meeting with someone who would later change everything, the insight that arrived at just the right time, the decision that seemed inconsequential but set off a chain of events you could never have predicted. These moments are not random. They are glimpses of a hidden order, subtle alignments that signal the workings of a law most people are blind to, yet which responds faithfully to consciousness, awareness, and intent. The 33rd degree teaches that these experiences are far more than mere chance. They are indicators that you are, even if unconsciously, interacting with the hidden currents that shape reality. To walk through the veil is to recognize that the life you inhabit, the world you perceive, is layered with intelligence, intention, and subtle cause that goes far beyond what ordinary senses can detect. It is to see that every encounter, every obstacle, every fleeting thought, and every emotion is part of a lattice of influence that connects all things. Those who have reached this understanding see patterns in events that others dismiss as chaos. They sense resonance in moments that appear trivial. They understand that perception itself is a tool, and consciousness is a conduit through which reality responds. To awaken to this is not to gain control over the world, it is to perceive the forces that already govern it, and to step into alignment with them. Consider the inner dimension of this experience. Every thought, every quiet reflection, and every moment of self-awareness is a dialogue with the hidden law. The 33rd degree reveals that mastery begins internally, in the subtle shaping of attention, intention, and presence. Before you can perceive the currents outside, you must navigate the currents within. Your emotions, your fears, your desires, and your habitual patterns are all part of the landscape. They interact with external events, shaping resonance, attracting circumstances, and reflecting back consequences that appear to be imposed from without. The veil is as much internal as it is external. It is the separation between unconscious drifting and conscious participation. Walking through it is neither sudden nor dramatic. It is a quiet, persistent awakening. It is noticing the subtleties in life that were always present, the synchronicities that recur in patterns, the moments when intuition guides you with uncanny accuracy, the impressions that seem to arrive from somewhere beyond ordinary awareness. To recognize these signs is to step onto the threshold of understanding, to perceive that reality is not merely happening to you, but in dialogue with you. The 33rd degree illuminates the truth that life is an interactive field, where consciousness is both observer and participant, and where subtle awareness can bend probability, shape circumstance, and transform perception. It is deeply human to feel small or powerless in the face of life's complexity, yet the hidden law quietly reminds you that you have always been significant. Every choice you make, every thought you cultivate, every moment you direct attention toward alignment becomes a thread in the fabric of reality. This realization is humbling and empowering at once. It asks you to embrace responsibility, not as burden but as opportunity. It encourages the courage to observe life without distraction, to perceive without judgment, and to act with intention, knowing that the seemingly invisible forces you engage with are shaping outcomes in ways far more profound than casual perception allows. The 33rd degree also teaches patience. The law does not rush. It does not respond to force. The currents of influence move at their own pace, and alignment is cultivated through sustained awareness rather than hasty action. You learn to recognize that waiting is not passive, that observation is not idle, and that consciousness itself is a tool of immense power when applied with subtlety and discernment. Walking through the veil is a commitment to seeing the unseen, understanding the hidden, and trusting the intelligence that underlies existence, even when the evidence is subtle or delayed. Ultimately, this path is intensely personal. It is not about titles, recognition, or ritual alone. It is about becoming attuned to the hidden order that has always been present, waiting for acknowledgement. The veil is lifted not with ceremony but with awareness, not with effort but with resonance, not with control but with perception. When you walk through it, you begin to see life as a living, breathing symphony, where every encounter, every thought, and every intention participates in the orchestration of reality itself. You realize that what seemed random, chaotic, or meaningless was always part of a subtle, intelligent design, and that you are, in fact, a conscious node in its infinite web. The invitation is clear. Recognize the hidden law, feel it in your own life, and participate consciously. The 33rd degree does not promise power over others, but it reveals power over perception, mastery of attention, and the ability to navigate life with an awareness that transforms ordinary experience into a living dialogue with the universe. Walking through the veil is stepping into this reality, acknowledging that the unseen currents are not distant abstractions but active participants in your life, and realizing that the moment you awaken to this, your life can never be the same again. To align with the hidden currents of reality is not a matter of force, ceremony, or dramatic action. It is instead an inward journey, a cultivation of awareness, presence, and subtle attunement to the forces that quietly shape existence. Most people move through life as if reality is a static stage, a set of circumstances to be endured or manipulated. Yet the 33rd degree reveals that life is a living field, responsive and intelligent, where every thought, every intention, every nuanced emotion participates in the orchestration of outcomes. To awaken to this truth is to step from passivity into conscious resonance, to recognize that the hidden currents are not distant or external, but intimately intertwined with your own awareness. Alignment begins in perception. You must first notice the subtle patterns that have always guided your life, the coincidences that recur, the insights that arrive with uncanny timing, the impulses that shape choices beyond rational explanation. These are not random, they are signals of intelligence at work, threads in the lattice of cause that the 33rd degree illuminates. Observing them with clarity and without judgment is the first step toward conscious participation. Awareness itself is the instrument through which the currents respond. When your attention is deliberate, when perception is refined, the invisible architecture of reality begins to unfold before you, revealing pathways that were previously hidden and possibilities that were previously unimaginable. Intent is the next layer. Awareness without direction is like standing at the edge of a river without ever dipping your hand into its flow. Your thoughts, your focus, and your intentions are channels through which reality can respond. The hidden law does not act arbitrarily. It reflects alignment. When your inner state resonates with clarity, authenticity, and focused awareness, the currents bend toward coherence. When your mind is fragmented, reactive, or distracted, the currents reflect dissonance, friction, and repetition. The 33rd degree teaches that mastery is subtle mastery, the capacity to align inner states with the patterns of life, allowing influence to manifest naturally rather than through effortful imposition. Action, though quiet, is essential. Alignment is not passive. It requires decisions, gestures, and engagements that are conscious, deliberate, and attuned to insight rather than compulsion. Every interaction, every choice, every moment of response is an opportunity to participate in the unfolding of reality. The subtlety of the law lies in its invisibility. Actions that seem small, even insignificant, carry immense weight when executed with awareness. A word spoken at the right moment, a gesture of presence, a conscious shift in focus. These are the levers through which influence flows in ways that appear miraculous to those who have not yet awakened to the currents. Patience is the silent partner of alignment. The hidden currents do not rush, nor do they yield to impatience. The 33rd degree teaches that timing is as much a force as intention. To push, force, or manipulate the system is to create resistance. To observe, refine, and attune is to co-create with the flow. Awareness allows you to sense the natural rhythm of unfolding, to recognize when subtle shifts are sufficient, and to understand that what seems like delay is often preparation, patterning, and unseen orchestration. Alignment requires persistence in observation, discipline in focus, and trust in the intelligence that governs unseen patterns. There is also a moral dimension to this awareness. Alignment is not about power over others, coercion, or self-serving ambition. It is resonance, harmony, and conscious participation. The 33rd degree emphasizes that the law mirrors the alignment of consciousness. Clarity and integrity attract coherence. Distraction and dissonance attract confusion. By cultivating alignment within, one creates harmony without. The universe is not simply reacting to desire, it is responding to resonance, and that resonance is forged in the deliberate cultivation of perception, intention, and mindful action. Emotion itself is a channel for alignment. Fear, doubt, or distraction disrupts resonance, scattering energy and generating friction. Gratitude, clarity, and mindful focus harmonize with the currents, creating conditions for insight, synchronicity, and manifestation. To cultivate awareness of emotional states, to observe them without judgment, and to redirect energy toward clarity is to interact with the hidden law in a profoundly effective way. The 33rd degree reveals that mastery of alignment begins in the inner world before it manifests outwardly, and that the quality of consciousness determines the quality of experience. Ultimately, aligning with hidden currents is an ongoing, dynamic practice. It is not a single revelation or a final state. It is a continuous refinement of perception, intention, and action, a constant dialogue with forces that operate beyond ordinary comprehension, yet which respond faithfully to awareness. Every choice becomes a point of resonance, every moment a potential alignment, every thought a subtle contribution to the unfolding of reality. Those who embrace this path discover a profound truth. Life ceases to be a series of accidents, obstacles, or frustrations, and instead becomes a living conversation with the hidden order, where insight, opportunity, and manifestation flow naturally when perception and action are harmonized. The invitation is simple but transformative. Observe deeply, intend clearly, act consciously, and trust the intelligence that underlies all things. The 33rd degree does not grant shortcuts, nor does it offer external power. It grants attunement, perception, and the capacity to participate consciously in a universe that has always been responsive, always intelligent, and always waiting for recognition. To align with the hidden currents is to step into mastery, not over others but over the coherence of life itself, and to experience reality as a responsive, intelligent, and infinitely subtle orchestration, where your awareness is not separate from creation, but integral to it. In the quiet spaces between thought and awareness, beyond the grasp of conscious reasoning, the hidden law continues to operate, eternal, impartial, and indifferent to human expectation. It is always present, always shaping, always weaving the threads of cause, intention, and consequence into patterns that are invisible yet precise. Those who have glimpsed it recognize that it does not require recognition, applause, or comprehension to function. The universe does not need our acknowledgement to maintain its order. Yet, once we awaken to it, we find ourselves in dialogue with forces that have always been present, subtly guiding, shaping, and responding to consciousness in ways that are profound beyond measure. The echo of this law resonates in every corner of existence, from the grand motions of celestial bodies to the most intimate, fleeting choices of the human mind. It is reflected in moments of synchronicity that feel miraculous, in insights that arrive with perfect timing, in the unexplainable alignment of circumstances that transform lives. These are not coincidences. They are the audible reverberations of an intelligence that is both vast and subtle, both silent and undeniably present. The 33rd degree teaches that once one perceives these echoes, life itself transforms from a chaotic series of events into a coherent, responsive field, where every thought, every intention, and every action participates in the orchestration of reality. There is a profound stillness to this knowledge. It is not experienced through external spectacle or dramatic change, but in the quiet recognition that every reality we perceive is a reflection of alignment, awareness, and resonance. The hidden law mirrors the state of consciousness. When clarity, intention, and perception are harmonized, life unfolds with fluidity, grace, and an almost uncanny sense of guidance. When awareness is scattered, distracted, or unaligned, reality mirrors that dissonance, producing friction, repetition, and apparent chaos. The echo is impartial, indifferent, yet always revealing the consequences of alignment and misalignment. Those who awaken to this truth discover that mastery is subtle. It is not power over others, nor the ability to manipulate outcomes externally. It is mastery over awareness, perception, and intention. It is the recognition that consciousness is both instrument and participant, a living force through which the hidden currents of the universe manifest. The 33rd degree does not provide shortcuts or guarantees. It offers attunement, insight, and the capacity to participate in the subtle orchestration of life itself. Every encounter, every choice, every fleeting thought is a note in the symphony of reality, and the echo of the hidden law reminds us that the harmony or dissonance of these notes is a reflection of our alignment with its currents. This awareness brings both awe and humility. It teaches that life is not random, that the universe is not chaotic, and that every individual is already part of the intricate web of cause and effect. The 33rd degree reveals that freedom does not lie in resisting this order, but in recognizing it, navigating it, and participating consciously. True awakening is a recognition of our role within this design, a realization that even the smallest act of awareness can ripple outward, influencing circumstances in ways that may be invisible, yet profound. There is also a sacred responsibility in this knowledge. To awaken to the hidden law is to understand that our inner alignment has consequences. Every thought, every intention, every shift in consciousness contributes to the resonance of reality itself. The universe is not passive. It reflects the harmony or discord of perception, the coherence or fragmentation of attention. Mastery, therefore, is not an external conquest, but an inner cultivation, a continual refinement of awareness, clarity, and intentionality that allows life to flow in synchrony with the unseen currents that guide all things. And yet the echo is subtle, almost imperceptible, requiring patience, observation, and trust. It asks us to let go of the need to control, to resist, or to impose. It invites us instead to participate, to resonate, and to act from a place of awareness rather than compulsion. In doing so, the extraordinary becomes ordinary, the invisible becomes experienced, and the ordinary moments of life transform into gateways of insight, alignment, and subtle mastery. Those who listen to this echo begin to perceive the infinite intelligence that underlies existence, not as an abstract concept, but as a living, breathing, responsive presence, intimately connected to consciousness itself. In the end, the echo of the hidden law reminds us that life is both grand and intimate, both vast and immediate. It operates in the spaces beyond perception, yet responds faithfully to recognition. It is impartial, eternal, and subtle, yet it shapes the very architecture of existence. Those who awaken to it do not shout its secrets to the world. They embody it, becoming living proof that reality is ordered, responsive, and profoundly intelligent. The 33rd degree teaches that to perceive the hidden law is not to command it, but to participate consciously in its unfolding. Every thought, every intention, every quiet act of awareness becomes part of the echo, resonating across the infinite tapestry of existence. Step lightly, observe deeply, and recognize that the world you perceive is only the surface of a greater intelligence, that the currents of reality are always in motion, and that the echo of the hidden law is a constant, subtle reminder. The universe has always been listening, responding, and guiding those who awaken to its eternal wisdom. In this awareness, life transforms into a conscious dialogue with reality itself, where the invisible and the tangible coalesce, and the awakened mind becomes a resonant instrument within the symphony of existence.